Hello, it's Courtney with balancewithcourtney.com. I am passionate about helping others discover their happy and inspire them to make it a daily habit. My intention is to hack happy by interviewing experts to share their story and inspire others and create a happy movement. Today's happy expert is Sherri-Lee Woycik. Sherri-Lee is a badass Facebook marketing and ads expert who has spent too many years hiding her bright, bold light. Since figuring out how to step away from the shadows and embrace her wacky, wonderful self, Sherri-Lee has dedicated her life to helping other women create lives and businesses beyond their wildest dreams, using Facebook to grow relationships, audience, and revenue. Welcome, Sherri-Lee.
Thank you, Courtney. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You are so welcome. Well, let's jump right in. Will you please share with my tribe how you found your happy?
That's such an interesting question because I don't know that I have ever, I don't think I overlooked for my happy until probably a year, maybe a year and a half ago. Until then, it was very much about survival, and I didn't put a lot of thought into it. I mean, I had those elusive moments where I was like, why can't I feel happy? Why aren't I happy? Why can't I be happy? What is it going to take? That sort of thing. But I don't think I really started taking conscious steps to create that feeling in my life on a regular basis until about a year and a half ago. And I mean, survival was really everything up until that point. And then I just got to the point where survival wasn't enough anymore. And I started realizing there had to be more than just getting by every day and just, surviving, that I wanted to be thriving. And I started asking myself, what does that look like? And I really had to spend time exploring what did happy look like for me? What was required to be happy? And then I'd get an idea and I'd go for it. And I've got a tickle in my throat. Excuse me. And I would go for whatever I thought that was. And sometimes I'd get there and go, oh, well, that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It didn't turn out to pan out the way I thought it would. So for me, it was really all about figuring out what does it look like for me to be happy? What do I require to be happy? I had never put any thought into that before. It had just been, go through the days, do what we're told, follow other people's path, and that got them to happy, so it should have gotten me to happy, but it certainly didn't. It took me down a few wrong paths, but they all had their meaning, they all had their purpose, and they all led me to being here, which is, I would say, and I think I said this to you, happier than I've ever been.
Wonderful. Can we go into survival a little bit? I'm hearing that a lot lately. Will you define to me what survival looks like for you?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I had a big life event that happened in 2011, and I knew I wasn't happy before that, and I'd been told by somebody who mattered to me an awful lot that they didn't think there was any way for me to actually be happy, that it was impossible for me to be happy. In their mind, I had everything I could ever want. And if I wasn't happy, that was my fault. There was something wrong with me. And that was an interesting message to get. And I accepted that message. I didn't reject it. I accepted that. And then there was a huge life change that came up, and that's when I started my business. And I really didn't know what I was doing. And for me, survival was just getting out of bed every morning, going through the motions of what I thought I was supposed to be doing in order to grow my business. Following that steps, that path that somebody else said, because that's the proper way to do business. For a long time, that involved, going out into the local business community and doing networking events, and coming away from those events feeling so drained afterwards that it took me hours to recover from them. And I realized it was because I was going to those events not being authentic with who I was, because I thought I had to put on this persona of somebody else in order to be accepted in that community. And that all goes back to that message that I heard of there's nothing we can do to make you happy. It's impossible.
Right.
And that there was something wrong with me. And I believed it to the core that there was something wrong with me. And so I thought I better be something else, and then I might be happy. So, going to local networking events, going to local business things, and walking away so exhausted because I had been pretending to be somebody else for an hour or two. Mm-hmm. But that's what I thought I had to do. And that for me was part of the survival. Getting through the day. There was a lot of that, just like, let's just get it done so that it can be over. There wasn't a lot of joy in anything. Just check off my list, get it done, get the work done that needed to be done, get the, pieces done for my clients that needed to be done, just so they were done. Don't look at the email anymore in case there was an email of somebody who was mad at me, because everybody was mad at me. Get the kids to bed so I could just be alone and not even be myself, because I didn't even know who that person was. Right. But just then I didn't have to pretend to be anybody else. I could be nothing then when there was nobody else around. So for me, that was a lot of survival, was just getting through the day, trying to make ends meet, trying to get more business, trying to believe the story I was telling other people about what I could do for them, because I didn't believe I could do anything. I didn't believe I brought any value to anything, and yet somehow I was trying to grow a business and support a family and raise my kids all by myself, all the while feeling like I had nothing to give. I don't even know how you do that. How do you give when you've got nothing there? So for me, that was just a lot of survival. It was just getting through the day, the week, the year, the month, whatever it was. And then, like I said, about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I kind of went, There was another big change. I had a dear friend commit suicide 3 years ago. And after about a year of sitting in grief and really just removing myself from everything, no networking. I had no energy to go out and do anything. After about a year, maybe a year and a half of that, that's when I started really going, wait a minute, there's got to be something else here. And that's like about a year and a half ago when I started really, just saying screw it to everybody else's idea of what I should be and how I should present and how I should walk and how I should talk and what I should want, and started asking what I want, what I really wanted.
Right. You put that so beautifully. I find when people are surviving, it's because they're trying to be someone they're not. And that's what's causing the surviving. And when
Absolutely.
we finally take the time to dig in and rebuild and discover who we are and what we want, we will always be surviving.
It's true. And I don't know how many times I worked with business coaches who said, well, what do you want to achieve this year? And my answers were just some robotic thing of what I thought I needed to say. And then they would say, well, why do you want that? Because they were trying to get to my why. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have a why other than survive.
Right.
And so I couldn't get to that. And now my answers are so different about what I want to achieve. And I say this is going to be an ongoing mission for me, because I'm 55 years old. So to just figure out that you even deserve to be happy at 53, I've got a lot of years of crap to get rid of. And I think it'll just be ever evolving. I think it'll be ever changing. But one thing that won't change is my priority to me. Mm-hmm. Putting me first on that list, which I have never done before. Now the question is, somebody asks me to do something, somebody, invites me to something, and then my first question is, will this add more to my life? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is no, then the answer to them is no.
It's no.
Yeah.
Exactly. And for women especially, it is all about putting yourself first. It's like that is the work. When we get Absolutely. That and we understand it, it's like all the doors start opening and we really start living.
Absolutely. And right now we're going through a situation in the last 3 or 4 months in the family with my mom, who is 95 years old. So, she's had a long life. She's just, since December, developed dementia and is losing her mobility, and we're seeing her age. But she's 95, but I've spent a lot of time visiting her in the last 3 months. And I always walk away going, okay, if I'm lucky enough to have 40 more years left in me, how do I spend those? And because at the end, at 95, and she's just been moved into a care home because she was in independent living before, your world gets really small. Mm-hmm. All of the furniture that her and my dad worked so hard to collect is gone. You know, all of the dishes that she used as I was a kid growing up, or even in her later years in her own places, private places, that's all gone. All she's left with is a suitcase of clothing and a box of toiletries. And then she lives in a place where everything else is somebody else's stuff. And her life, as we're emptying her apartment, her life was compartmentalized into a suitcase and a box. And that made me take stock, because what do we spend a lot of time doing? Chasing. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much we accumulate. Even before we die, it's gone.
Yes.
And so if I'm lucky enough to have 40 more years on earth, like my mom, maybe 40, maybe more than 40, because she's not dead. And her doctor says she's as strong as a horse. It's just her mind. What do I want that to be about, and how do I want to spend that? And what's my focus? And I'll tell you, stuff sure seems a whole lot less important now.
Yes.
Because it's experiences. All she's doing a lot of the time is sitting and thinking about past experiences. She's not ever talked about a piece of furniture or the dining room table, or she's talked about times as a family, times with her family of origin, times with her siblings. That's what she has, and she's holding on to. And even in moments of dementia, she still has those. So what do you want? Such a huge life lesson right now for me.
Yes. And that's the motto right now, is get rid of stuff and simplify your life. You're hearing it everywhere. I did this big journey a year ago, and I sold everything, and now I'm living in an RV, and my life is my material items are so small, but my life is huge. Mm-hmm, and the things you think you miss, you don't miss at all. Mm-hmm. You do not.
That's really exciting. That's one of my goals when my kids get older and are out on their own and more independent. I fully intend to get rid of everything and get an RV, and I want to drive. I'm in Canada, so I want to drive across Canada in my RV and run my business from there and get to the East Coast, and then probably on to Europe and travel.
Wonderful. Please do
when
it.
Kids were younger, that was my goal, was to do that with my kids when they were younger, because we always homeschooled.
Oh.
And so I could have easily done that, but I couldn't. I was so busy stuck in that, not knowing who I was, that I knew I wanted that, but I couldn't create it yet. Yes. And now that, I can create it, they're a little bit older and in a different place in their lives. And so we'll see. They may come with me on that journey. We'll see.
Yeah, you never know, but you definitely want to be ready.
Yes.
Taking this journey when you're not ready, it can not turn out so well. So yeah.
For sure. For sure. Although, having said that, I'm just going to jump in, because I have a lot of people who say to me, well, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that yet. There's something to be said for doing things before you're ready as well. And that's a big hallmark for me in my business. I get an idea, I validate the idea, and then I implement long before the pieces are ready, because I can create the pieces as I implement.
That's true.
And if you wait until you're ready, sometimes you never feel ready enough to actually do it then. Yep. My daughter is planning her first solo trip. She'll be 19, and she's going to go to New York for a book convention. And she's been talking about it for a long time, and I keep saying to her, buy the ticket to the convention. That's the cheapest piece. The flight's next, the hotel's next, but the ticket to go to the convention is the cheapest piece that you can invest. Until you buy it, it's not real. Once you buy it, it's real, and everything else starts moving into place. And I'm not ready. I don't want to waste that money. And my answer is, but once you've invested in it, we'll make sure you don't waste that money.
Yeah, that's beautiful advice.
right?
Beautiful.
And so the ticket got bought last week. So I'm so excited for her because she bought the ticket. So now everything else is going to have to come into place to make this happen for her.
Yes. Oh, wow. Wow. So will you define what happiness means to you?
What does happiness mean to me? Wow, that's such a hard one to, this is no topic here, Courtney. For me, and like I said, I feel happy more often now than I ever have. And I think for me, it really comes down to an enthusiasm and an excitement and a gratitude.
Mm.
Those are the big pieces of it. I'm enthusiastic about what I'm doing. I'm excited about what I'm planning. And I'm grateful for everything I have in place right now, even the dogs that drive me nuts.
Yes, yes.
And it doesn't, then whatever happens doesn't matter at all, because those three things will help me deal with whatever comes up.
Beautiful.
I just made that up off the top of my head, but I like it.
Oh, I love it. And all those are high vibrational energies. And that's why we're attracted to happy people. We're all of a sudden like, I don't know why I like you, but I really like you and I want to be around you. It's because they have that energy just shining a light.
Right.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
So what techniques or what things do you do so you feel that every day? What do you do to inspire you?
Well, and I love that question, because sometimes I don't feel that.
Right.
And sometimes I need to just take a day to just, like, usually when I don't feel it, I'm tired. I haven't been taking care of myself enough. My love tank is empty. I need a little bit of nurturing. And instead of trying to push through that, I take that as a sign to cocoon a little bit. Put on a good show on Netflix, pour a glass of wine or make a cup of tea, and give myself what I need.
Yes.
So I can feel that. I don't think it's possible to feel that every minute of the day, but the difference is the depth of how low the low will go. And I've learned sometimes you need to sit in the low to get through it faster. That if we resist that low, it tends to make it last longer and go deeper.
Right.
Because everything we resist becomes solid and becomes something then we have to fight against, instead of just going with the flow and taking that day. And what I find is say, okay, well, I'll give myself that day to have that time. And I get about 4 or 5 hours in and the creative juices start coming again. My brain starts going, my energy starts going up, and I go, oh, okay, that's all I needed. But, it's most of my life was never spent in taking care of me.
Right. Right.
So I don't strive to always feel that way. I allow myself to feel the other way when I need to, but it doesn't happen anywhere near as often as it used to. And I think it's because I don't resist it. And then I have tools. When I start coming out of that lower moment, I have those tools. Look around. What am I grateful for? If I'm lacking that enthusiasm and that excitement, what do I need to create in order to bring that in? Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I haven't challenged myself enough. Maybe I need to get out there and talk to some of my community to find out what else they need in their business so that I could create something to give that to them. Because as soon as I start looking at inside of me and I start looking outside, then I can start feeling enthusiastic again. When I help somebody else, I can feel better.
Right. We can't drink from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm constantly talking to my clients about check in with yourself throughout the day and ask yourself what you need.
Yes.
Not what's on my to-do list and what I have to get done. What do I need?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And, for a long time, I thought self-care was a big thing. I would hear people going, well, I've got a sitter for the kids and I'm going to Vegas for the weekend or for the week, or I'm going to the spa and I'm going to have, a weekend of meditation and chefs making my meals, massages, and I would sit there and go, holy smokes, I can't afford that. This, back in those days, that's a huge thing. I can't afford a babysitter for the weekend, to go to this place. This is just not doable. And I did nothing because I thought that was what self-care looked like. And then one day, oh, I don't remember when, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was grumpy, and just the sound of the kids in the other room laughing and having fun pissed me off.
Mm.
Go figure. And I just thought, I can't even listen to this anymore. So I left my computer, I went upstairs to my bedroom, and I turned on the TV. Dr. Phil was on. And I sat on the floor and I did a few stretches, and I did some deep breathing, and I just kind of sat there. And the noise of Dr. Phil was there, but I wasn't really listening. And it just, all of a sudden I thought, wait a minute, I feel better. I don't feel as annoyed. How long has that been? 10 minutes? Wow, self-care can be a 5 or 10 minute break. And I realized I could turn anything into self-care because all it was my mindset. I can turn grocery shopping into self-care. I'll stop and get myself a cup of tea.
Yes.
And I'll get my grocery cart and I'll just wander around the aisles and I'll drink my tea and I'll look at packaging and things that I've never looked at before, and I'll look at the ingredients and I'll take my time. I'm not rushing to go home. Mm-hmm. It becomes self-care. And so it's become so interesting to me how self-care can be everywhere in any minute of the day. Right. And I'd love to get that message out to some of these poor women who struggle, who think I have to have a weekend away in order to have self-care, because you certainly don't.
Right, right. And the difference is you were doing things that you wanted to versus that you have to. Correct. And as women, we are just checking stuff off our to-do list and doing things we have to. When we do things we want to, like just going in your bedroom and saying, what do I want to do for 5 minutes? And doing that. It's huge. And that is self-care. You're taking care of yourself. You're putting yourself first.
That's right. And you know, after that day, I started taking 10 minutes every day at that time to go upstairs. And I'd say to the kids, I'm going upstairs now. Don't bug me unless you're bleeding.
Yes, yes.
And I'd never done that before. They were a little bamboozled by that. They were like, what do you mean? You're not available? You're doing something? It took them a little while to get into that. But it was good for them and it was good for me. And boy, the difference, I could come back to the end of the day. And, you know, I work in my business in my home. Mm-hmm. I homeschool both kids. We spend a lot of time together. I have no family support here when they were younger. So it was me 24/7. I didn't approach every day with best of attitudes, you know, and it wasn't until I started learning that, then I realized, oh, I can face the next 4 or 5 hours of activities and having to go out and do things and making dinner and all the family stuff that came after having been up since 4 or 5 in the morning doing the business stuff. I can face that with that 10 minutes for me. Interesting.
Yeah. So big, so big. Oh, this has been wonderful. Before we end today, would you give just a little golden nugget to women out there that are struggling to find their happy? Something to inspire them.
You know, the one thing that I would say probably started this whole thing for me was that 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. And I know it sounds impossible. We've all seen those jokes of the woman in the bathroom with the kids' fingers coming under the door. As soon as you go to the bathroom, right? As soon as you get in the bathroom or you go on the phone, everybody needs you. But you know, there's a million to-dos out there, and they are all going to still be there tomorrow. Nothing is going to come to an end if you don't get it done. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a suitcase and a box at the end of your life. That's about what you're going to be left with. So until then, what are you going to do for you? And if there was one thing I would encourage everybody to do, spend 5 or 10 minutes a day with yourself, with Dr. Phil, with whatever you need to make yourself just feel a bit better. Breathe deeply, and it's the mindset. So take that time. I'm going to take 5 minutes for me now, and that's okay. And during those 5 minutes, don't let yourself think about the list or listen to the kids downstairs having a fight or the dog or anything else that's going around or thinking about all the work you have to do. Take that 5 minutes and really focus on, this is for me, and breathe deep. And you can turn any 5 minutes into a spa retreat if you do that.
Love it. Thank you so much. So inspiring.
My pleasure. Thank you.
would you tell everyone how they can contact you and anything you have going on?
Sure. So for anybody who's an entrepreneur, which I think you have probably a lot of entrepreneurs in your group, as I mentioned, I started my business after my marriage fell apart, and I was alone with my kids, and I'd never run a business before. So I didn't know a thing about running a business, let alone running a business online and using Facebook to grow my business. And I have discovered such freedom in my life and in opportunities and possibilities and of what's possible through this business. And for me, my passion is to help specifically women, although I have men in my community, so it's no way meant to alienate men. Men are attracted to this as well. But for me, the whole point is to teach women and help women work in businesses that they love, that bring them joy, that they have the tools to grow their business online without having to work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that they are free to go and pick the kids up from school or take them to dance class or take them to taekwondo or whatever it is, and spend, or even if you don't have kids, free to travel, so that you have the time and the resources to do the things that you love to do, and that you're working to live, not living to work. Now, I love my work and I work a lot. My sister said to me this weekend, don't you wish you could just take like a weekend off without having your computer? I went, no, I'm doing the things right now that I love to do. I'm connecting with people, I'm talking to people and helping people. That's what I love to do. So that's okay. So, obviously I'm all over Facebook. If you want to like my page, it's Sherri-Lee Woycik is my page name. I have a free Facebook group called the Badass Facebook Marketing Club, which you'd be more than welcome to come and learn some techniques around Facebook marketing. And I do have a game, because I'm all about fun. Don't let the word game fool you, because it is a game. It's a lot of fun and you have a good time, but you'll learn how to grow your audience on Facebook with real authentic people who are eager to hear your message and interact with you and get to know you, so that you have more people listening when you make your offers and share the wonderful things you bring into the world. And that game starts April 22nd, so I know we're just a little, but you can still join in.
Wonderful.
And only $47.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you for the opportunity to share that.
Yes, of course. And would they just find that on your website, the link for that game?
I tend to not send people to my website today, because that's my website that I built when I was starting my business, and I'm getting a new one built. So the best way is to connect with me through Facebook. So, the game information is in all the headers of my page and in the group. All the information is there, as well as the link, so they can definitely find it there.
Perfect. I will make sure and put that in comments as well. Oh, thank you, Sherri. And I just want to tell everyone out there that I have been following Sherri now for, I think 7 months. Mm-hmm. And you are the instruction booklet for Facebook. Have any questions, go to you. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I loved having you in the community, for sure. It's been great.
Wonderful. I'm going to say goodbye, but please hang on so we can chat after.
Okay. Thanks for having me today.
Much. Yes. Thank you for taking time for us and for your growth. I hope you discovered new happy habits to support your happiness. Please reach out if you have any questions or you need more support at Happy Balance Facebook group or balancewithcourtney.com. If you're looking for one-on-one inspiration and support, please book a happy call. Thank you, Sherri-Lee.
Thanks, Courtney.